Well, Eric and Greg, right now we're going to bring in Lieutenant Colonel Avital Leibovich. She served more than 20 years in the Israeli Defense Forces, many of it as a spokesperson. She is now the director of the advocacy group American Jewish Committee. So I will call you Colonel Leibovich, and if you could talk to us about this IDF strategy in this new phase of war. What can you tell us?
So the main goal of the war is number one, to defend Israel and not to return to the same situation Israel has been facing since really 2001. That was actually the first year when rockets started flying from Gaza into Israel. So 22 years of rocket firing, but it's even more than that. Hamas has one goal: to wipe out Israel. They call on their charter Jews pigs, animals. We don't have the right to exist here, and we want to make sure, Israel wants to make sure that this changes, that Hamas is no longer controlling the Gaza Strip. And the second goal is to return the 229 hostages home. In order to do that, it isn't sufficient to only have Air Force raids. That's not going to get these two goals. That's the reason why the expansion of the operation has been taking place since yesterday, and you will be seeing a lot of activity on the ground: artillery, special units, commandos, and also special units from the sea. And this, I hope, and we all hope here in Israel, will bring us to the final outcome of the war.
And what is that final outcome? What would it look like from your experience?
Well, we cannot afford to continue when Hamas is controlling Gaza. And in order to change the authority in Gaza, for example, to the Palestinian Authority, which that would be the acceptable solution, we need to make sure that every single Hamas officer, whether junior or senior, is eliminated. We need to make sure that any terror infrastructure inside Gaza, whether it be storages of rockets, launchers, underground tunnels crossing the borders into Israel, different facilities used for terror, drones, we have to make sure that all of these facilities are eliminated. And in order to do that, we have to work very carefully.
Yeah, and Prime Minister Netanyahu just said what you are saying, that you will destroy Hamas and save hostages. So, and you said you have to work very strategically, because what will IDF do to locate and extract American and dual national citizens who are being held hostage? How do you navigate that?
Well, I think that this relates to a broader question, and this is the very good and close strategic relations Israel maintains with the U.S. We have seen here, we welcomed with open arms President Biden and Minister Blinken and Lloyd Austin, who were here and spoke great words of solidarity. So the conversations are very close between the countries, and I believe that there will be a solution for those holding dual citizenships. But please keep in mind, we are right now fighting the war of survival. So we need to continue and defend ourselves. Just 2 minutes before I came here to the broadcast, there was another rocket attack, half an hour from where I'm sitting here in my living room. So we're still right in the midst of ongoing defense.
Absolutely. And I understand that you don't have a specific answer in terms of how the hostages will be released and hopefully saved and gotten out of there alive. It appears that the Prime Minister and the Defense Minister were saying that they were going to put this pressure on, this initial pressure, in hopes that somehow Hamas will be willing to release these hostages, at least some of them. I do have one last question for you regarding your the other role that you play, which is the Director of American Jewish Committee. And I wanted to ask you, is there any way to end the sometimes deadly cycle of hatred and attacks on Jewish Americans in our country?
You know, I think it begins and ends with education. There is a lot of ignorance. People are not sure what exactly is a Jew. And there is a lot of incitement on social media. So I also hold the companies of social media responsible. And there is also enforcing of law. Because at the end of the day, when there is Jew hatred, anti-Semitism, it doesn't just stop there. It goes down to other minorities. It goes to gay and lesbian communities and others as well. So it's really about values and what we stand for. I'm very happy that the U.S. and Israel share the values, but I'm very concerned of the rising anti-Semitism in the U.S. and also in other countries in the world where there is Jewish minorities as well. And I do hope the authorities will take the relevant measures so this will minimize and eventually cease to be.
Avital Leibovich, I have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Stay safe. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.